You're watching Slingshot the Podcast, the misunderstood voice, the culture's power. And today's episode is entitled Man in the Mirror. Come on now. We've been talking about Michael Jackson a lot lately, right? With the movies out, time of filming today's episode. It's been out for a little more than a month now at this point. I've seen it at least once. You still got to watch it a little bit there, right?
Yeah, I still got to. I didn't get the opportunity to see it yet. Yeah. I heard Janet was a little upset about it, but
I think this the nephew did a wonderful job portraying his
everyone
uncle.
is saying that.
And I think he deserves at least an Oscar nomination for that role.
Interesting.
I do.
He was that good?
I do.
And you're critical, so that must mean that.
I believe he deserves it.
Mm.
You know, sometimes people don't think people like that deserve it because they're already in the family, he already looks like him, probably has some of the same mannerisms, etc. But he had to play Michael Jackson, and you could watch that movie and think you were actually watching Michael Jackson for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so Man in the Mirror. So today's episode is entitled Man in the Mirror. Now, we all know that each episode we name usually after some song, title, or lyrics. So we're going to get right into Man in the Mirror with our singer of the day, my co-host with the most, Charles Gregory. Come on now, Man in the Mirror.
I'm staring with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. Ain't no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make a world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make the change. Na 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 na.
You can't get the whole mic.
I know, right? Gotta shout out to Mike. I keep saying people before we get into this, right? Because I know this should be a piece, but there is, and I'm willing to debate anyone who want to jump in here and debate me in the comments. I don't look at these comments. I tell her, stop looking at them damn comments, right? But I guess you got to engage. But anyway, there is no one on the planet that will be as big and who has made a footprint as big as Michael Jackson,
ever.
Period. And there's some great, like somebody can argue Elvis and all these people. There has not been a talent who started as a 5-year-old in a band, disconnect from a family group, then make a legacy all his own as the greatest entertainer. He will forever be the greatest entertainer of all time. Period.
Yeah.
I'll debate anybody.
Yeah. I'm glad I was alive and
I know, such a moment. And I'm a Prince fan too. Prince, yeah. He just wasn't a child star, but Prince is a prodigy
and a musical genius.
Yeah, and a musical genius. Yeah. So I don't even compare those two. So it's hard.
Yeah. There is a line in the movie, you're gonna have to watch it, where Michael Jackson talks about Prince for a second. So now you got to go see the movie.
I gotta go see it. Yeah, no doubt.
All right. So Man in the Mirror. What are we talking about today? So the lyric starts off, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. Well, change begins with us, right? There's this famous quote, be the change you wish to see in the world. I think it's Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, right? This is his quote. So you want to bring about some change in your world, in your community, in your family, in your neighborhood? It starts with you. Start with the man, the woman in the mirror. Start with the person in the mirror. That's how we bring about change in this country and in this world. And so today's episode, as we talk about a man in the mirror, we're going to talk about ways in which you can get active, ways that you need to engage in this moment, ways that you can take agency for yourself and your community and your family and advocate to get your needs met. That's what today's episode is all about. You believe in that?
I do.
All right. Well, something in the news as of late, time that we're filming today's podcast. You may have heard the rumblings of what has happened with a New York footballer for the New York Giants named Jackson Dart, and controversy swirling around Jackson Dart in this moment as it relates to who actually has the power to advocate for themselves, or who has the power to protest or support who it is they want to support. And so in this moment, if you're watching this, maybe you've heard about this story. So you have starting quarterback for the New York Giants. He came out recently and introduced the President of the United States, Donald Trump, on a stage in New York, right? So he's a New York Giant. He introduced the president who was visiting in New York. And this has some national attention to it because we have folks wondering why it is that someone who is so unpopular in this moment, being Donald Trump, would be introduced by an NFL player. And one of Dart's teammates, Abdul Carter, I think he was 2025's first round draft pick, right? So we're not talking about a slouch here. Abdul Carter publicly criticized his teammate Dart on social media. He has since taken, I believe, the post down, but criticized his teammate for, why are you going to introduce a man who's so divisive? Why would you go over there and do that, knowing that the NFL is made up of a whole bunch of black men who are not really feeling Donald Trump and his administration right now? Why would you do that? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's hard because I get how Abdul feels. Like I believe that he has a right to feel a certain type of way. He has a right to his.
Who does, Dart or his teammate?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I mean, both can be accurate, right? It can be one taking a stance to say, "Hey, this is what I believe in, and I have a right to express that." But so does someone else to express that I'm not feeling that you actually did that. And so it's just hard. Like, that's it. That's how he feels. That's his opinion. You can't control anyone else. Because what if he, say, for example, supported Barack Obama? Should he be mad that you are supporting, like, the Obamas? So it's kind of like, I get it, but that's his opinion. That's the way he feels. He doesn't make me feel or change my perspectives on anything. That's just him. I don't necessarily have to go out with him. I just play football with him. Once I'm done, I'm in my home and I'm doing things for my community. So I don't know. I think it's just a hard call for me.
Well, there are some who are criticizing Abdul Carter, one of those people being former quarterback himself, Boomer Esiason, who gave a scathing rant about the Giants' first-round draft pick, who reacted negatively to Dart introducing President Donald Trump at the community college in New York. And Esiason saying that this was the wrong call, that, Jackson Dart should be left alone. And Esiason called Carter a child.
What?
Called him a child for coming out against his teammate. Well, a lot of people have a lot to say. I'll say this, and I hope that you all are seeing this right now. Tisha's going to put this up for you. I want you to see this cartoon, this graphic. And it's showing you right now a picture of Colin Kaepernick, who we know stood up for what he believed in. He took a stand. He was using his agency and advocating for our First Amendment right to kneel. And we all know how that story went for Colin Kaepernick. He was blackballed from the NFL, never to play another game. So some are saying there's this image of Colin Kaepernick, and now there's this image of Jackson Dart, and one person's allowed to express their political views and someone not so much. And that if you have a certain complexion, you're okay with expressing your political views, and if you have a different complexion, maybe a darker complexion, not so much. So, there's a lot of people saying that this is one of the really important things that is coming out of this controversy, is that who actually has the ability to advocate for what they believe in. I'll also note that several are noting that Dart was not there to endorse a particular policy or a campaign or a movement. They're saying that he was simply there to introduce the president.
Someone, Jamel Hill, I'm looking at this post, I believe this was on X, and she says, so Jackson Dart gets to publicly express his political beliefs, but Abdul Carter doesn't. Yeah. If this is about locker room sanctity and leadership, is it a good idea for the face of the franchise to attend a political rally for a president that is considered to be hugely divisive? I mean, you got a point there. Yeah, you got a point there.
Well, there's going to be two sides to this one, and somewhere in the middle, others are feeling a different way. So we'd love to hear how you feel. What do you feel? Do you believe that Jackson Dart and Abdul Carter and Colin Kaepernick have the right to express themselves off the field in their own personal time? Or are they supposed to be neutral in all situations? And we already heard that quote about what happens when you stay neutral. You side for the oppressor in neutrality.
Mm.
So let's hear what you think. What are your thoughts on this controversy?
And I want to give an opposing position, which is interesting because another person responding to Jamel Hill said, Jackson Dart didn't call out a teammate for his political beliefs. Abdul did, which is accurate, right? But I'm on the fence with it.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
I can't even rock with that comment when it starts off with this low IQ because we all know what that's a euphemism for.
Absolutely. And so I'm just giving you the other side of the other perspective. But I mean, which is accurate that actually Abdul did, but I believe that's okay.
Yeah.
He can call that out, but he's siding with Jackson Dart though. But come on. This is why I believe that you need to keep the politics out of sports. You know how they say separate church and state? Mm-hmm. I believe you need to do the same thing.
You can't. Our lives are political. Everything we care about,
100% I agree to 100% I agree to that. But as long as we continue to make, if you make locker room and sports political, right? Then you take out the agency that the players have to make certain decisions based on their way of life, which is a problem if we're saying to give them the agency to be expressive. They're able to go out and dance and when they make a field goal or when they make a touchdown, they're able to be, physically expressive. So don't pull the reins when they express how they feel politically or publicly about anything.
Yeah.
And so that's my thing. You can't talk out both sides of your mouth. You have to be fair when you're allowing expression, period. And you're talking about full elite athletes that's nothing but aggression and alpha, right? And so how can you tell them to minimize how they truly feel or what they feel about anything? Yeah. Because you're excited when they win the Super Bowl and they talking about they the best thing of all time, right? They don't care about nothing else. It's about them. Right. You okay with that?
Yeah. So if the Giants are your team,
we're not talking about the Giants. We're talking about
we're gonna have some trouble with the Giants this year, though.
I know.
I'm rocking the green today a little bit. We're gonna have some trouble with the Giants this year, so they say. We'll see.
Shout out to Eagles. We bleed green over here.
Bleed green over here. All right. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about who actually can get into good trouble and what kind of good trouble can we get in and what is good trouble. So come right back and join us, and we're going to find out exactly what that's all about. You're watching Slingshot the Podcast, the misunderstood voice, the culture's power, at New Millennium Multimedia Studios. Welcome back. You're watching Slingshot the Podcast, the misunderstood voice, the culture's power. And today's episode is called Man in the Mirror. So how does change happen? And change starts with you. And it starts with all of us having some agency and advocating for the things that we believe in. Yeah. Others might call that good trouble.
Good trouble.
Good trouble. John Lewis, good trouble.
Yeah.
So one thing that has some folks very irate in this moment, happened in the last several weeks, has been the gutting of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, particularly Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act that allows for Black folks to have a representative of their choosing. And there's a lot of people very upset about the gutting of the Voting Rights Act. The belief is that by gutting the Voting Rights Act, that we're going to have very few Black representatives in Congress. And this is a problem.
Big problem.
So as an organization, you all know, I lead an organization that's a voting rights organization. We center communities who have needed historically a constitutional amendment or an act of Congress to actually have access to the ballot. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 was the work of Dr. King. It was the work of Ida B. Wells. It was the work of so many who fought for access to the ballot. It is the work of Fannie Lou Hamer. It is the work from those who died, right? The freedom fighters, those who were hosed down, attacked by dogs, made bloody on a Sunday, right? This is the premier work of the civil rights movement. and it has been gutted under this administration.
It's horrible. It's just that fast. And that's another thing. I'm critical about my party. We walk on eggshells to try to make policy and do certain things. Like we were fussing at Biden. We fussed at Barack Obama about, yo, we don't care what the Republicans are talking about. Just make the changes. Make the changes. No, we want to. And they was trying to do it the right way. I get it. But you have someone in pretty much in office right now that's he's doing whatever he want to do.
And quickly.
And quickly, which shows that our past presidents could have did the exact same thing, but we didn't because we were trying to do the right thing. So at this point, it's kind of like, well, what's the right thing anymore?
Yeah. Well, some would say the right thing right now is fighting back against this. And there are those, and particularly like the NAACP and other civil society organizations that are saying the way to fight back against the gutting of the VRA is to touch folks in their pockets.
That's right.
And who do they want to touch in their pockets? They want to touch the southern schools of the SEC,
I agree with that,
and others, to touch their pockets, to have our stellar student athletes decide not to attend in Alabama, not to attend in Arkansas, not to attend in Ole Miss, not to attend some of these schools in LSU and others, and states in which the Voting Rights Act has been gutted and then further gutted by the states who have just jumped on the bandwagon right now, and they're trying to overturn congressional maps and anything else they can do to have their own power asserted.
I agree with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to start asking people who are the premier advocate who has been speaking out, because most of the time they're the academic, which is the problem why a lot of people don't vote anyway, because they're not as informed as the quote unquote political academic, right? In terms of the policies and, the politics of it all. And so, and that's not a bad thing. It's just who pays more attention or who focus is X, Y, and Z, right? But to the particular academic, most academics who are truly informed in politics, they have children that become academics. Mm-hmm. And they are going to these schools that a lot of these parents are pushing them to. So if you have an elite athlete, more than likely you're pushing them to a D1 school. So I'm going to start questioning a lot of these people who's been so critical, even with our current president. You have any children? Mm-hmm. What school do they go to, and do they play sports? Because if you say any of the D1 schools, I'm going to have a problem. The southern ones. I'm talking about the southern ones. But if they go to any of those southern schools, you and I are going to have a problem. Because I'm going to say you don't have no stance you don't have no box to stand on. Mm-hmm. You can't get on your soapbox because you're talking out two sides of your mouth. Because the amount of money that they make off our children at those schools, you know what would happen if you start taking those elite players and putting them in, say, for example, HBCUs?
Yeah.
They got some D1 schools there.
Yeah.
Just take them out and put them there. But most people won't do that.
No.
All right.
Most people don't want to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to put themselves out there. They don't want to engage in anything that's going to disrupt their normalcy in their day-to-day. We are not, so many times that argument is you can't do to us what you did to our ancestors because we are not our ancestors.
We are not our ancestors.
Well, guess what? We are not our ancestors with this because our ancestors knew how to fight and struggle.
That's real.
Right? And they knew how to fight and struggle.
Mic drop again. It just hit me. That almost went over my head, but you were 100% accurate. Because our ancestors would have been like, no, I'm not putting my child in that school, period.
Yeah.
And they would have got together, made a strategic plan, and all said, at the same time, we're putting our kids in. If they were smart, if they were smart, they would negotiate with some of these other schools, some of these HBCU schools, put all their players in the HBC and take everything and win everything.
Right.
You can't win a national championship without black folk.
No, you
can't. You just can't do it.
Can't.
And that's not to take away from the athleticism of our white counterparts. I'm just saying that you need us to win.
Yeah. Make Grambling great again. Right? Make Grambling great again.
Yes, make Grambling great.
Shout out to Coach Eddie Robinson.
Grambling.
Right? Make Grambling great again.
Put all your kids there.
Make North Carolina A&T great again. Make North Carolina Central great again. Right? Make some of these schools down south great again.
Make them great again.
Yeah.
They can be.
They can be.
They can be. If everyone just stood on 10 toes down and was like, you know what? We're not letting our kids go. We're sending them over here. You know, talk to the school. Listen, offer these kids a couple $. We can almost guarantee you will win.
Right.
Simple as that. The problem with those D1s, they getting offered a lot of money though.
That's the counterpoint.
The NIL, that's the counterpoint.
But
when you talk about NIL money, I don't talk about the packs in the NIL. I'm talking about, you know, NIL from, like, say, for example, Nike and a lot of the big brands.
Right.
They just want dynamic athletes. They don't care what school you go to. They just want to know that you have a dynamic social media file. We're talking about NIL. If you don't know what NIL is, it's name, image, and likeness. They want to be able to use that to make money off your name, image, and likeness. And if you're in school and you're wearing their sneaks per se, and you got a dynamic social media, they're putting money on. So potentially you can kind of create packs based off of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's something to think about.
I always say that recruiters will find you no matter where you are.
That part.
Right? The NFL found Jerry Rice, Michael Strahan, found all these guys out of HBCUs. So if you are talented and you have the ability, they will find you no matter if you go to Alabama or you go to Tennessee State.
Yeah.
You know, they will find you.
Yeah.
So really important. When we talk about the counterpoint, some are saying not only the NHL money, but they're saying, why are we disrupting young people? Like, we're putting a lot on the shoulders of young people who might need this money.
BS. Come on, that's BS. I mean, they might need the money, but when you say disrupting, I have a problem with that because they're growing. All right, this is for the people out there that have elite athletes and went through the process of making them an elite athlete. You're disrupting these kids from the age of 14. Yeah. You talking about getting them up, making them eat, traveling across the country, putting them in every travel team. They're already talking about how much travel team is making in terms of money, these kids, how much money it is in youth sports. Most of that is because you have parents disrupting the kids that make them elite athletes utilizing youth sports. Yeah. So I don't want to hear that, oh, don't disrupt. That's BS. That's BS. Yeah. You're probably not hearing that from, you know, parents who got elite athletes because they're not going to say that because they know how much drama they put their kids through. They know that. But I do get the money part, and some of them come from nothing. That's why I won't say nothing because that has a bad connotation, but come from humble beginnings, right? And so if that's the case, then that should be the argument or that should be the negotiation when it comes to the kids. Okay, because you can live off less than $1 million. Yeah. Come on.
There's so many, more than 90% of Americans do.
But that's my point.
Right.
So the exorbitant, 15 mil he got. People don't need all of that. You should get the bag, especially if you hurting yourself. And I mean, you're talking about high impact sports when it comes to football. Yeah. So you should get as much as you can. Get the bag, definitely. Yeah. But I mean, the difference between $1 million and $2 million for someone who never had anything. Yeah.
Well, there's some that'll say this will never happen. One, because we don't want to suffer. Two, because we're asking a lot of young people in this current movement. Yeah. And three, it's just like, young people, maybe that was their lifelong dream to go to LSU, and now we're saying you got to go someplace else. And we're putting all this onus on young people and not so much on the people who have caused all this harm, which is older folks.
That's what I'm...
Right? Older folks cause all this harm. Now we're asking 18-year-olds to change their life path.
Yeah. No, they have dreams of, like, they have dreams of going to these D1 schools. And that was over the course of years and years and years to establish reputation of winning for a young person to see you've won that much and that's the school that I want to go to. That's how that works. Yeah. But you need some people to stand. I mean, you have black billionaires out there. I forgot his name. I think he was at Howard or some school that he was at. And he said, you know what? All of the graduates or everybody in this room right now, I'm paying all of you.
Yes, yeah. Johnson.
Johnson, yes. there's other black billionaires that can do that, that can say, you know what? If you decide to go to this school, I'm going to make sure you don't, have to worry about tuition. That's the first thing. I'll make sure that you're able to play, and I'll give you like a couple million.
Yeah. But we need those folks to stand up. So those are the folks you put pressure on.
Yeah.
That the
part.
older folks that have made all that money.
Right.
And that's why you have right now, at the time of this filming, we have right now today the Congressional Black Caucus standing up and saying, all right, maybe, we do want the students to do a thing, right? We want to have them maybe boycott some of these southern states.
Yeah.
But what about boycotting the businesses in the southern states instead, or in addition to?
It wouldn't make the same. It's not.
What if you say to Amazon, I'm not purchasing anything from Amazon until this is over?
Amazon don't win games, though. It's not. I get the argument, but it's different. It hit differently. You can say in Amazon. You see what happened when it came to, was it the Met Gala or something, and Bezos and that whole thing with that. It's not the same when you talk about an athlete. You got 3 first-round draft picks on a team, which is the most dynamic players in pretty much the nation on one team.
Yeah.
Like, that's different. That's just completely different. I hear the argument, though, and it does have merit. It's just, it hits differently when you're talking about just having 2 people that can essentially turn your whole program around to help you win a national competition.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We're watching in real time. We're living in this historical moment. What's going to happen? Are we going to have young folks stand up and protect us? And protect us from the older folks that are wreaking havoc in this moment and gutting our rights? Or are we going to stick it to the Amazons and the Targets and the Walmarts of the world and say, we're not going to shop in your businesses. You have a distribution center down south. You're running trucks down south. You have a call center down south. We're not going to shop at your stores as long as the Voting Rights Act is gutted and black folks don't have access.
And all that can be true. Like all of these positions are true. That's the thing. It's like we have to do everything, and we have to make sure everyone is on the same page to do everything. Because we still buying, like going to the store buying junk food, which literally you talking about big corporations. We still utilizing big pharma and using they're talking about, I think they call it like a health boycott or something like that, where they're going across seas to get their meds, and I forgot the name of the term that they're talking about, but they're talking about boycotting big pharma and things like. We can do all of this. I think that we truly have to come up with the opportunity to say we're all coming to the table. This is our strategy. Yeah. We need to do that. Yeah. It won't take just one person saying I'm boycotting, maybe Amazon I'm boycotting Target. And we argue about that stuff too, which was unfortunate. That whole Target, we won't get into that. Yeah. But that's why we become so divisive that nothing works.
Yeah, we're going to have to be willing to sacrifice and suffer. And I'll tell you that there's not a lot of people today willing to get bloody. A bloody Sunday would never happen now.
Yeah. Oh, heck
bloody Sunday would never happen right now.
Absolutely not.
You can argue with me all you want about this. Bloody Sunday would never happen right now.
That's right.
Being taken down with fire hoses and such would never. The dogs attacking would never happen today. Nah. As much as we believe we are not our ancestors, okay, maybe this is the case.
We was crying about getting maced on George. I was out there. And a lot of people was upset because they got maced.
Yeah.
I was out there. You ain't hear me complaining about that. That's part of the fight. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Just wear your goggles. That was just wear your goggles and put something around your nose. But when you talk about truly being an activist and really going hard for the community, you want to get some bumps and bruises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Montgomery bus boycotts took more than 365 days. Could you imagine today you tell somebody they can't use SEPTA for 365 days and you got to figure out how to get to work without SEPTA? How fast that would end? Could you imagine Philadelphians right now, 365 plus days and not using SEPTA?
And they could do that if they were smart. There's a lot of black people doing car share. Mm-hmm. And they could come up with ways, gypsy cabs. Remember,
That's what they had to do.
Hack man. There's still a couple hack mans out there. They could, again, it's about strategizing, organization, And we're not doing
Sacrificing
it.
it and sacrificing.
Sacrificing.
That's the hard part.
Carpooling. We could easily carpool. Come
Yeah,
on.
that's the hard part. People couldn't even stay out of Target. You know what I mean? They couldn't even
still
stay
in
out of Target.
Target, yeah.
He's still in Target.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back, and we're going to talk about what you can do. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks about how you could advocate for yourself and your community, because it's a great thing that you took the first step, which is getting registered to vote. Glad you've done that. You've taken the second step, which is actually went out there and cast a ballot. I'm glad you've done that. The third step, and what is the hardest and what people do the least, is actually hold elected officials accountable, or anyone else, the community, the schools, the businesses, accountable for the promises they make us. So when we come back, we're going to go over a quick little timeline and a quick little tips and tricks of how you can get into good trouble, good necessary trouble, good angelic troublemaking, so that you can advocate for yourself and your community. So stick around. We'll be right back. You're watching Slingshot the Podcast. This is more than just a podcast. This is a movement to inspire and motivate and mobilize. This is for those whose voices have been unheard, misunderstood, undervalued, and underserved. We're going to talk about sports, culture, entertainment, and we're going to use this to build power in our communities. All right, welcome back. You're watching Slingshot the Podcast, the misunderstood voice, the culture's power. Today, we're talking about the man in the mirror. Man, woman, person in the mirror. It all starts with us. We are that person that we need to bring about change in our communities. And today, right now, I'm going to give us a quick tutorial on how we can get into some good trouble, how we can advocate for ourselves and our communities, how we can get our needs met. So many times we say, I voted for this elected official and they're not doing the things I asked them to do. Well, guess what? Here is your opportunity to make them do what they promise us they do when they ask us for their vote. So we're going to do a little advocacy 101. All right, 101, advocacy 101. We're going to train you right now some tips and tricks on how to mobilize and take action to bring about change in your community. Because let's not forget, this is the great Frederick Douglass, who said that power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will. And so if we don't demand change, we are not going to receive change. All right, so there's various ways in which you can advocate for yourself, your family, your community, your loved ones. Number one, quickest way, assemble your team. You can't go this alone. You still got to get a team. Dr. King had a team. Ida B. Wells had a team. Fannie Lou Hamer had a team. So you've got to assemble your team. Who's the ride or die for you? Who's going to stick by you? Who's going to get into some good trouble with you? Assemble your team. Assemble people that have a lot of information about a subject. Assemble folks that may not, but yet they are strong advocates and they're passionate about what is happening. Bring together your team. Your team could be 3 people. It could be 5 people. It could be 20 people. But get yourself a team. Assemble a team. And then you want to identify who it is that you need to have a conversation with. Well, I'm not going to call it a target, but some may call it a target. Identify your target. Who is it that you need to have a conversation with about bringing about change? Is it your state representative? Is that the person that you need to go to? Is it your mayor? Is it the tax collector of your borough? Who is it that you need to identify and speak to about these issues that you're having in your community? So you want to identify that person. And pick the right person, right? You got a pothole or you need a speed bump outside of your house. It's not Donald Trump you're reaching out to, right? It's not even the mayor you're reaching out to. Who is it in your community that you're reaching out to? You've got to identify that person. Go to the right person. Then you want to identify the nature of your advocacy, right? You need to understand truly what it is you're advocating for. Are you trying to shut down data centers? Are you trying to make sure that we don't have trash burning in the city of Chester that's coming from New York City and New Jersey? What are you advocating for? What is the nature of your advocacy, right? Because we can't do everything all at the same time. So pick an issue. Identify whom it is that you want to contact to get this thing going. You may not get the ear of the mayor right away. You might have to go through the deputy mayor. You might have to go through the chief of staff. You might have to go through the booker in the office, the scheduler who actually puts things on the calendar. So make sure that you identify whom it is you need to contact in order to get the person that you actually want to speak with. And then go ahead and make an appointment. This is government. Your tax dollars is paying for this service. They are paying for constituent services. And so if you want to speak with someone who's an elected official, make an appointment. Make an appointment. And then if for some reason you've tried to make an appointment and you're not hearing from anybody, it seems to be falling on deaf ears, follow up, right? You can't just give up because you made one phone call or you sent one email. You've got to follow up. This doesn't end. Again, these sacrifices are necessary. And then the last thing you want to do as you're advocating for an issue or for what you believe in, something you value, is you want to get an elected official on the record, especially, let me say this into the microphone, especially during an election year. You want to get an elected official who's running for re-election on the record. Where do you stand on data centers? Where do you stand on trash burning in the city of Chester? Where do you stand on health care for all? Where do you stand on raising the minimum wage? Where do you stand on affordable housing? Get these folks on the record because they're making you promises because they want you to re-elect them or elect them for the first time. And then when you go back to them 2 years later when things haven't changed, you know exactly what they promised you. All right. So one of the great ways to advocate for issues for yourself is, like I said, is to call into the offices. That's a great way. Call into your elected leader's office and let them know what your concern is. And I always recommend going into their district office, right? So your leaders have local offices. They might have an office in Harrisburg if you're trying to get your state senator, but they also have an office right in the community. I always advocate for going into the district offices. Go there. Another thing that you can do after you've made phone calls and you've made visits, don't forget about the importance of media. And when I talk about media, I'm talking about all of it, including the written publication, newspapers. People aren't writing letters to the editors or opinion pieces, op-eds like they used to. But believe me, elected officials, they are paying attention to the news. You have some words to say, you want to get it across. You've been trying to reach their office. They're not answering the phone. They're not taking your meeting appointments. Well, put it into a letter to the editor. A letter to the editor could be quick. It's like 400 words or less. Some of you get on Facebook or you get on Twitter and you start writing a novel. Well, copy and paste whatever that rant was you put on social media, copy and paste it and send it as a letter to the editor and let your local paper publish it. They're looking for content. Give them some. The other thing you can do are days of action, visibility actions. Show up to your lobbying day. Are you a member of the Divine Nine and you're an AKA and you're having lobby days? You're a Delta. You're having lobby days. You're a Q. You're a Sigma. I can't forget anybody, Charles Grambling. And you're having lobby days, right? Show up to those. It's one day in Harrisburg or it's one day in DC. Show up to your lobby day. Advocate for what it is you and your community believes in. Have some visibility. This provides visibility. The other thing you all can do is direct action or accountability events. Show up to that press conference that your elected leader is going to have. Make some noise. Direct action could be going to that person's office, going with a hook that you may have. You want them to raise the minimum wage? You want them to stop waffling about raising the minimum wage? Take that office some waffles. Put the waffles on the desk and say, stop waffling about raising the minimum wage. We're tired of $7.25 an hour. Other things you can do is attend town halls, attend meetings. Don't let the same people attend these meetings and have their voices heard without you having your voice heard. Something you can absolutely do is attend town halls. They usually happen on a Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. You've had dinner, you did the homework with the kids. Take the kids with you to town hall. Listen to one of these public hearings. Get yourself up there. Speak up about your community. Make your voice heard. And also, the last thing I'd say in terms of different types of advocacy is having difficult conversations. And you can advocate and get your point across by having that conversation during Easter, during Thanksgiving, even over the Christmas dinner, right? Because our lives are political and we should not stay away from having political conversations, particularly in this moment when we're living in such divisive times. Don't be scared to have difficult conversations. We must speak up. We cannot continue with niceties and speaking about the weather when we've got people who are really struggling out here today. So various ways of advocacy are very important. And many of you out there watching today, maybe you've taken some type of actions in your life. Maybe you have done a phone bank and you phone banked for a candidate that you wanted to win. Maybe you have phone banked on an issue. Maybe you've lobbied your legislators. So great things to do. We talk about in-district offices, and you want to go to your district office of your state representative, particularly right now your state senator in Pennsylvania, and ask them why they are not in favor of raising the minimum wage. Why is Pennsylvania stuck at $7.25 an hour? Make your voices heard. Get your crew together. Make sure you have your information. One of the top reasons why people choose not to advocate for themselves or go to their elected officials' office is because they think they don't have enough information to do that. Believe me, you might have more information than your state legislator has. You may know more about this issue than they do because you're living it and they're not. So never think that you can't advocate for yourself because you don't know 100% of the issue. If you know enough that it's bothering you, you know that your home is being polluted, that you can't go out between the hours of 6 and 8 because that's when they're burning trash, then you know enough about this issue more than anybody else does. And you should be able to feel comfortable about advocating for yourself with what it is that you know. So, I'm going to leave it here. And I hope that you reach out to organizations that do a lot of this. Reach out to an organization in your community that puts together days of action, that puts together lobby days. Again, get with your sororities and fraternities. Get with the NAACP. Get with an organization like I lead, the New Pennsylvania Project, and others, good government groups, civil society organizations that want you to get together, get your crew together, advocate for together, and take your power back. Power is within the people. It's not within the elected officials. Power is within the people. And as long as we are putting good people in government, good things can happen, which is just another reason to get out there and vote every year, twice a year. And so for that, I want to thank you all for joining Slingshot the podcast today. I hope that you're going to use some of these tricks and tips and take them back to your community. Take them back. Experience a lobby day. Get your kids together. I'm a super voter because I watch my parents vote. I'm into this because I've watched my family do this. I'm into this because I've watched my ancestors fight and die to do these things. So get the whole family together. Make this a family activity. It's going to take all of us in this moment to bring about the change that we need. And so with that, I want to thank you all for being with us today. Please take some action. We've got to do something. We've got to do something, and it starts there with the man in the mirror. So have a good day. Thank you for watching Slingshot the podcast. I'm Kadita Kenner, and you're watching Slingshot the podcast, the misunderstood voice, the culture's power.